Night owls, Chris Wyatt reports. I'm not sure what these are at night, but my days are pretty full, and so I try to get you some news and analysis, some commentary, and share some insights as we wrap up the day. It's Thursday, June 13th. Is that right? June 14th is tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning, Central Africa time in South Africa. Republic of South Africa's parliament will be seated and sworn in by Chief Justice Raymond Zondo. And moments later, they should be nominating candidates to be the next president of South Africa. Who will be the next president? Will it be once again Cyril Palapala Ramaphosa? Or will it be someone else? That is a good question at this hour. I suspect it will be Cyril Ramaphosa, just saying that. Beyond the question of that, will other parties nominate a candidate? For instance, will MK show up? Lots of questions to be answered tomorrow at 10 o'clock, folks. My plan is to try to do a broadcast for y'all and cover that live. Now, I won't be able to put it on the screen, so it's going to be a little weird and different than I normally am in my studio because I have no ability. I'm broadcasting off my mobile device, and I'm watching the chat, which is not appearing for some reason over here. Is anybody chatting? I see there's people here. So let me reload the page and see if I'm just not getting the chat. That is odd. No, oh, there. Salem's Cave said good evening. No one else is pretty quiet tonight. Well, that's fine. You can be shy. Like all that, but lots of questions to be answered tomorrow. Will MK show up? We know that Jabulani Kumalo's bid to be put in the seat has been dismissed by the Western Cape High Court and the Electoral Court. So he's out, and there are 58 members of MK who are supposed to be sworn in tomorrow, raising their right hand. And are they going to be present? Will one of the other parties nominate a candidate to be president? Will the ANC nominate Cyril Ramaphosa? Will the DA nominate John Steenhuisen? Will the IFP nominate Velenkosini Labisa? And what about the other parties? 18 parties will be represented in this party, in this parliament, I should say, not party. 18 different political parties, including Tani Pat's Good Party. The Good Party has one seat, and Tani Pat is occupying it. You've got the Freedom Front Plus with a diminished representation, down from 10 to just 6 seats now. Action SA, new to Parliament with 6 seats. You've got, who else we got out there? We got the Economic Freedom Fighters dropping from 44 to 39 seats in this Parliament. The ANC dropping from 230 to 159. And there was a large round of applause at that news. You see that the DA has gained 3 seats despite losing 115,000 votes over the 2019 election because of the lower turnout. Meant that their smaller numbers had more impacts. They have 87 members of this parliament. The Inkatha Freedom Party, which raised its vote total by over 30,000 to over 600,000, and they will raise the number of members in parliament to 17. So they've done better. Well, there you have it. That's the main parties that are in there. The ACDP is also in parliament. BOSA has a seat or 2. And then Musi Maimani gets to take a friend to parliament for his BOSA. And then you've got Rise Mzansi, I think, also got 2 seats. So that's most of the seats we need to talk about in Parliament. Tomorrow, they'll be seated, 10 a.m., South Africa, Central Africa time. And all hell may break loose tomorrow, folks. All hell may break loose. Get ready for all hell to break loose in KwaZulu-Natal, where the ass-burnt, bum-hurt MK, Mkhonto weSizwe party, this hour is likely seething. I guarantee you that members of that party are seething over events today. The events today are as follows. When you put the IFP, 18% of the electorate in KwaZulu-Natal, the the ANC, 17%, excuse me, 35%. Then you bring in the DA, that's 48%, and then you bring in the NFP, and you get over 50%. So that coalition, which the NFP announced today they're joining, IFP, ANC, DA, and NFP, National Freedom Party, that gives them 41 seats in an 80-seat provincial legislature. And that leaves the party with the largest vote total in that election that we just had, MK, the largest vote total in KwaZulu-Natal, is out in the cold. 45% gets them no majority. 45% is a plurality. And that means that 55% of the people who voted against MK. 51% of them, or 52% of them, will now be in a coalition with 41 representatives. Wow. So MK has 37, and even if they team up with the EFF, that only gives them 39. Not enough. So, wow, what's going to happen to MK? Sorry, I got to drink something here, folks. I got something caught in my throat. Excuse me. So, what's going to happen I don't know. We don't know. Is it going to be back crap crazy? Well, it's definitely going to be interesting. Also, what's going to happen in Gauteng province? Earlier today, we saw that Alan Winde, Premier of Windgat, has been reelected with 26 votes to 16 votes as Premier of the Western Cape. Of course, the Democratic Alliance secured 55% of the vote in the Western Cape, so that was a fait accompli. But the real question now is, what about Gauteng? ANC only got 35% of the vote. They need lots of help in order to form a government there. We'll see what happens there. Meanwhile, the Inkatha Freedom Party, for its part, has said that it will be part of the Government of National Unity with the ANC at national level and at provincial level. And we've seen it now at provincial level. But the news coming out of the Thule House, coming out of Parliament, is nothing. Crickets at this hour. Ladies and gentlemen, it's after 9 p.m. the night before Parliament must be seated. 9 p.m. And we have no news of a government. No news of a government. We don't know if it's going to be a government of national unity or it's going to be a coalition or if the ANC is going to try to go it alone and rule as a minority government. We suspect a government of national unity, but right now, we don't have that. We are now just 13 hours from the seating of Parliament, and we have not heard a deal. This is literally horse trading, backroom, arm twisting, offering this, offering that, maybe even buying votes. Who knows? It's crazy. Let me say hello to everybody in the chat here very quickly. Pip Jacobs is here. Jan Fillon, Slot Steamkamp, Etienne Fillon, Moritz Haig, welcome to you. Ernst, Marilyn Brokenshaw, Valerie Cooper, and Ricardo Mesquita. Energade for the win. Indeed, Energade for the win. So here we sit, folks, less than a day away. Just 13 hours, and we don't know who is going to rule South Africa. What's your vote on? Let me put a poll up. Can I get a poll up here? Let me see if I can get this work on here on this laptop. Yeah, where's my poll? Start a poll. There we go. I can do it. So, which will rule STAR team Friday? Okay. Okay, let's try this. Okay. We'll go with this GNU. Then we'll go ANC, DA, IFP. Add an option. ANC, EFF, PA, and all right, so you got four options here. Here's the poll. I started a poll. Please answer it. Can you imagine the bucks being passed under the table? Yeah, no doubt about it, Marilyn. I'm sure that a lot of that's happening as we speak. There is a poll, a chance for you to answer it. Clive Streak is back. Good to see you again. Ernst says, as usual, hurry up and wait. Hurry up and wait for what, Ernst? Yep. Yeah, okay. I had trouble loading, but here I am. Yeah, no, I've had trouble with some of this YouTube stuff here in South Africa of late. But anyway, we're breaking through the ceiling here. I mean, we're getting lots of views on the live streams. Thank you all for that. It's a lot more fun to do this when it's resonating and people are getting it. Look, I've persevered with, live streams of 75 people showing up and maybe 300 or 500 views in the live stream. But it's not the real number. We know now, based on anecdotal evidence we've seen throughout South Africa, that there are thousands and tens of thousands of people watching these broadcasts, and YouTube is just not giving credit because they don't have accounts. And that's unfortunate for me, but it's good news because everywhere you go. So today, we'll get back to the politics in a moment, but I got to tell you, folks, there's almost 100 people here right now. That's not what I got to tell you. What I got to tell you is, for those of you who were not here earlier, I flew in from Durban, and boy, are my arms tired. It's a dad joke. Father's Day coming up Sunday. Dad joke. Anyway, well, I just flew in. My arms are tired. No, I flew in to OR Tambo, and I was following a guy off the plane. I was one of the first ones off. I was seated in the first row, and he kept going. I'm thinking, don't we turn left here? Because it was a different gate than I used to coming in. And he kept walking, and I looked up and I'm like, no, that's where we go. That's a long hallway down to get to the carousels where the bags are. And so I stopped and I looked, and someone behind me came up and they turned, the door opened. I'm like, see, it's that. And I called to the guy. He had a hearing aid. He couldn't hear very well. He took my photograph on the plane of me with the Springboks where they signed their autographs. And I called him back, and then we walked through. So that cost me about 30 seconds, a minute of my time. But that was important. Fate had something in mind. As I walked down, I got to the escalator, and I went to enter it. A lady went first. The gentleman stopped at the top of the escalator. We both couldn't go down. He looked at me and said, I know you. I know you. And I said, well, I'm Chris Wyatt. He goes, yeah, you interviewed me. And racing my brain to see who it is. because the face looks familiar, but it wouldn't register. Ladies and gentlemen, it was Bram van Straten. Bram van Straten, Springbok legend, whom I've interviewed in the past twice. I interviewed him about the Southern Kings and rugby, and then also interviewed him about the Bermuda Tens. He also made sure that I got a original player's jersey from the Southern Kings. That was so awesome. But there he was. So we chatted on the way down to the carousel, and I double-checked to make sure I still had the same number, sent him a text. I said, hey, we should chat soon. Anyway, Bram van Straten. Yeah, that was cool. How cool was that? And then while I was waiting for my bag on the carousel, someone from my flight was standing there, and she had a comrade's jacket on. I said, did you finish? And then she said that as she started talking, she moved her arm. I could see that it said finisher down the length of her arm. And I said, oh, you did finish? She goes, yes. I said, congratulations. It's a tough race. She said, yeah, it was really good. We talked about going downhill from Pietermaritzburg to Durban, vice going uphill from Durban to Pietermaritzburg, which is what she did. Anyway, she's from Bulawayo, and her name is Talon, if I'm not mistaken. She gave me her number, and I took a photograph. She got her medal there, and I'm going to interview her at some point. So how cool is that? How cool is that? I got recognized at OR Tambo again. Exciting stuff, folks. It really is. I love coming here. People are wonderful. Going to be a hard clash for the Bulls, but hopefully for win. Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be at the game on Saturday. If you're going to be there, we'll probably do a meet and greet maybe earlier that morning. Johannes Fundament says, hello, Chris. I did listen to your chat with Rockfight. Very good. Hope you can make it an ongoing series. Obviously that you highly impressed him with your rugby. Well, Johannes, thank you for that. But I mean, not only him, I've highly impressed Henneke Meyer. I've highly impressed Nas Bota. Nas and I did a whole series of videos before some scumbag hate wanker ruined it and lied about me and disparaged me and committed slander. And then, because the pussies at Supersport, they told Nas we couldn't do it anymore. So anyway, but yeah, Nas is impressed with my rugby knowledge too. It's pretty cool. I've interviewed Gary Gold, Henneke Meyer, John Kaplan, Victor Matfield, Nas Bota, Bram van Straten, so many others. It's really cool. So it is dumb to say it will be a government of national unity, but solely comprised of ANC. But I didn't say that, did I? Did I say that? No. If you look at the poll, I said government of national unity. Then I said a coalition of ANC, IFP, and DA. I should be responding to something else and not to what I wrote, because that's not what my poll says. Athena's back. Fakile Mabalula says, we bought instability to the country by not voting ANC. Chest pains. Indeed, Athena, he's got chest pains. But that's because Julius Malema is yesterday's fish. Nobody cares about the EFF. They're done. They're done and dusted. The only way the EFF makes news now is that they commit crimes. That's it. But they've done in the past. Warren Hornet says, enjoy your show. Very, very knowledgeable. Thank you so much for that. Tja, und wir haben gar nicht auf andere Sprachen gesprochen heute Abend. Vielleicht sollen wir ab jetzt auf Deutsch reden oder können wir auch auf Französisch? Tja, wenn ich auf Französisch spreche, ist es ganz anderes. Tja, bonsoir tous. Je suis très heureux que vous êtes là avec nous. Notre transmission vient ce soir de Johannesburg, l'Afrique du Sud. Je suis Chris. J'espère vous êtes là pour apprendre quelque chose. Les quotidiennes. Anyway, folks, welcome to the program. Xander Labascati said, did you watch ANC media briefing? I did not. Did that happen recently? I didn't see. I've been out at rugby. I was at Randburg, watching Randburg and Linden play. And I watched the first half. It was 7-3 at the end of the first half. Had a player, one of the props, get hit hard, went down. He was all wobbly. Instead of getting a stretcher, they walked him off, and the kid could barely stand. It was really bizarre. Somebody said I never read their message. Well, it's because I didn't see it. Okay, so, all right, what else? Sloat says the comments are not working properly. Really? Okay. Thank you, Warren. Okay, what else? Radine. Hey, salve, Radine. Lee Roberts is here. How's the UK going? And then... and what else? Okay, JP Dreckmeyer's here. The ANC media briefing that just happened was very informative. Did you? No, I didn't, Sano. I was unaware, but I just got back from the rugby. Okay, can you tell us what happened in a couple of words there? What happens if they can't form a government? Well, they should be able to form a minority government, but then they still have to vote for a president. So somebody has to become the president, and somebody has to become the speaker and the minority leader. So I'm the deputy speaker. So I'm not really sure, but everyone's saying they have to revote, but I don't believe that's the case. That's only if they can't govern. Colonel, you never read my message right. Okay, Harry, what did I read wrong about your message? You retracted it. How can I read it? It's gone. James Bowie's here. Ken Arnston, not getting any notifications is lucky. Are you serious, Ken? Almost everybody in South Africa is getting my notifications. I wonder where you disappeared to since I left the Western Cape. Eve Tonder says ANC, IFP, DA, PA, NFP, Freedom Front Plus, EIEIO. That looks like a government national unity. All right. I'm sorry Ken hasn't been getting my end. That's interesting because people in New Zealand and the United States haven't been getting my notifications since I came to South Africa. So I don't know how Ken's not getting them. What I suggest, folks, if you're not getting notifications and you're not in the WhatsApp or Telegram groups where we put notifications for all the videos, although this one I didn't have time to do it. If you join those groups, you'll get them because I regularly update those. If you don't join those groups, I want to suggest you go back to your account where my channel is and you unsubscribe. Refresh the page, subscribe, refresh the page, make sure you subscribe, make sure you pick all notifications, and then you should be okay. All right, Pierre Arbon. And what is Harry saying? I never read his messages. I'm not seeing it. Fansada Kogenberg says you must be kaput by now. Well, no, I'm not. I get a little bit tired at night. I wonder if people felt the same anxiety about the future as they did in 94. Some probably have. Ronaldo Hos, the Honorable Ronaldo Hos. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a distinguished guest in the chat tonight. None other than Pip Jacobs. Now you thought I was going to say Ronaldo. You thought I was going to say Ronaldo. Admit it. You thought it was going to be Ronaldo. It's not Ronaldo. It's Pip Jacobs. No, just teasing. Welcome, Ronaldo. He says, Ravani says, honestly, I personally believe South Africa can survive without a government. I think we can all survive without governments in many instances. People do a lot of stuff for themselves. I mean, listen, Ronaldo and I were fixing potholes in PE just a couple days ago. We have royalty in the house, the DA house. Thanks to Telegram, I got a notification, nothing from YouTube. There you go, JP. That's why I suggest people join the groups. Ronaldo has to have some insider information. But nope, he does, but he can't tell you. I know. I'm damn certain that Ronaldo knows what's going on, but he can't tell you. Folks, you've got to be trustworthy and be able to keep secrets. Trust me. If I could open my head up and people could pull out secrets, there is so much crap in there that I can never, ever, ever share with people. So. Yep. Renette Bernardo's back. Hey, good to see you here. The Honorable Woes Jose. Yes. Hey, folks, tomorrow Ronaldo will be sworn in. So I'm guessing he's sitting somewhere in a hotel. Hopefully, he's a rookie member of parliament. So hopefully they didn't put him in some little bed and breakfast, down in Kailicha or Mitchell's Plains or somewhere like that where he's really far away from the swearing in. But if I read that it will be in the Cape Town International Convention Center because you have to swear all the members in simultaneously, and you really can't do it in a different building, and the City Hall can't accommodate that many people. So it's going to have to be the Cape Town International Convention Center. Ronaldo may be able to confirm that, but that was in the press, so I suspected it. Ronaldo says, I know nothing. I see nothing. Ronaldo tonight is Sergeant Schultz from Hogan's Heroes. I know nothing. Yeah, Ronaldo. So answer me this, Ronaldo. Riddle me this. Are you excited? Be honest. If I was going into government, I'd have a little bit of trepidation, but I'd also be quite excited. It's a very, very impressive thing that happened. So Just Jacques is here. Welcome to you. So Ronaldo, answer the question, like we used to with Rob Hutchison. Answer the question, are you excited? Any nervousness or trepidation about the swearing in tomorrow? Are you ready to get down to business? Oh, and can we do this? Let's do this. Ronaldo, let me tell you something. Are you going to vote for Julius Malema when he's nominated for president tomorrow? I'm just asking for a friend. Ronaldo, tell us who your vote is for tomorrow. It's very exciting. It's overwhelming. It has to be. It has to be. Hey, folks, whether you love, you hate, you just tolerate, or you just are very fond of Ronaldo, you got to respect what's happening. It's pretty impressive. I'm not playing the role of fanboy here. I'm just being honest. I've known presidents of republics. I've known Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, not Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. I've known now Joseph Boakai, who's a president, so 2 presidents of Liberia. I've known George Bush. That's 3 presidents. I've known a few others, and I've walked in the halls of power all over the world, in embassies, at the African Union, in other locations, NATO, many different places. And there is a certain air of responsibility in those organizations. Whether they fulfill them or not, it's a whole different story. But it is a certain air of responsibility, and it does come with a lot of attention. So congratulations once again to Ronaldo Hos. our resident member of parliament. Thank you for being here tonight, Ronaldo. It's a real pleasure having a chat. And okay, so don't let it go to your head. You know, I don't usually do that. I don't, because Ronaldo's head swells up so big. We can't compliment him very often. So, but we'll do that tonight on the eve of his signing in. By the way, folks, tonight at the Randburg versus Linden High School rugby match that I was at, there was an American singing in Nicklin, Africa. I don't know if you heard or saw who it was, but here's a hint. And contrary to the black supremacist and racist white liberals, there were a lot of white folks singing all of the verses, not just the Afrikaans part. Zana says, stop release tomorrow, indicating what the agreement will entail and the parties that will join will have to sign before Parliament meets. Most likely, but they're not telling us tonight. No, Ronaldo does not have to cut his hair for Parliament. Nope. What's your take on the VP of Malawi's plane going down to presidential election year? Folks, listen, several people said he was the top contender. He's not the top contender. The man's under corruption charges and was waiting a trial. So, no. Yeah, it's no. It just happens. The Malawian Defense Force doesn't have much capability when it comes to air capability. Its air arm is pretty small and insignificant, and they probably had weather or bad maintenance issues. So it's not surprising at all. It happens. No, there's nothing. I seriously doubt there's anything untoward here. Ravani says, congratulations, Chris. I almost forgot how the anthem goes. In Kozizikilele, Africa. That's how it starts, man. There's a revolutionary in Irania. Yeah, there's an EFF voter in Irania. Lee Huzar. I wonder if the parliament will open with a Bible, reading a prayer. I don't know. Dylan says, good evening. The colonel is proudly South African. That's what my biltong is proudly South African. Parliament is already woes. We need to cut Hosie's hair if it's right. Hope Ronaldo isn't packing matches. No, Parliament's already burned. And no one can burn Parliament. It's already been burned. And it still hasn't been repaired. They haven't even got started on that yet. So, well, he was very angry at the media sensationalizing and fake news. Who was? Buttery Gold, your poll does not have an option for me. I have doubts Parliament will get far tomorrow. No, Cox for hours and MK will. Is MK going to be there? They threatened not to show up. MK will be wearing prison jumpsuits like the EFF. Just watch Chris on Megaphone. Cool. Been AWOL for 3 weeks. Where have you been, Chronicles? Why have we not seen you? You're watching that channel, but not mine? Yeah. All right, cool. So, yeah, we see some folks coming back to chat. Be sure to hit the like button, folks. Just 63 likes, 141 people here. What's going on? We had more viewers last night. People hanging out, doing something different. You should make a biltong and call it the Colonel's biltong. Well, I think I should make a segment called the Colonel Sit Rep. You know, or call it the Sit Rep. The situation room's been taken, but the Sit Rep. Lee Roberts saying hello to Hendo. Yeah, so a lot's going to happen here, folks. We don't know. Only a handful of people actually know what's really going on, and they are people on the National Executive Committee of the ANC, in the Federal Council of the DA, and the senior ranks of the IFP, among others. Yep. People are busy prepping. Yeah, well, in case it ends, they're probably prepping, and that's smart, just in case. Rudolph Aerofair, courts ignored MK and their idle threats like their parents did, thankfully. Yes, and not just the courts, but also people are ignoring MK and its threats. Again, I think a lot of it was bluster. I'm not saying you're out of the woods, but I'm saying a lot of it was bluster because they wanted to see what they get away with. And they thought they could pressure people into things. Look, Jacob Zuma is accustomed to threatening people and bullying people. I mean, he still hasn't been tried for the arms scandal. Can you believe that? Something occurred in 1999. He still hasn't been tried for the corruption and for the dirty money payoffs that he got, which were proven in court previously. Yep. Some new members of Parliament posting their IDs on Twitter without graying out sensitive information. Well, that's stupid. That just shows. I bet. Did the 20-year-old do that? A 20-year-old might be bright enough not to do it. A 20-year-old member of Parliament. How ridiculous. Bernard Earnhardt, any coalition with the ANC is doomed. Well, what coalition are you going to get without the ANC? Because if you're out without the ANC, then you have to have the EFF or the MK to make it. MK is 15%, 14.5. EFF has 9. That's 24. That's 1/4 of the vote. You can't form a coalition minus 40%, minus 24%. That's 64%. That leaves you 36. So you can't form a coalition government without the ANC. And if you don't do it without ANC, you got to have MK and EFF and a whole bunch of others. So I'm not really sure what you mean by that. But again, like I said, any government's pretty much doomed, folks. I suspect that the government that comes in will probably be short-lived. There'll be a vote of no confidence in due course, and we'll start all over again. Simple as that. South Africa's future has the potential to look very much like Italy did from the end of the Second World War until about the 1990s, when they changed their governments more often than some people in this chat changed their undergarments. Not me. I change my drawers every day. Kronrizla says, I haven't looked at any social media for 3 weeks. Had to catch some of these. Well, I hope you're okay, Kronrizla, and nothing happened to you. And that's what. Hey, Lebochang Mhole says, doesn't the MK have weapons that were used during the apartheid? No. This is an MK. Lebochang, first off, that's one of the problems. People think that Jacob Zuma's Mkoto Sizwe party is actually the spear of the nation, the armed joke of a military that the ANC put into the struggle. No. There are always talks of caches of weapons, but if the MK had weapons, they're probably in southern part of Angola, not in South Africa. Too many problems to solve. Yep. Ron is in from Bloemfontein. Ron Thunderspol. Good evening, Ron. Hochundit. They do have sticks. Hey, but sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. So Marty van Balen just saw a post that MK confirmed that they will be present. Well, there you go. Okay. They see, once again, they prove to be just a bunch of bluster. So we'll see if they show up in prison suits, or, what are they going to wear? Green jumpsuits? And the EFF has already cornered the market in prison jumpsuits. All right, so Ronaldo says, I did it. The scan code is removed from the bottom. So no, not stupid. It's stupid if people reveal sensitive information, Ronaldo, but you shared yours. Maybe that was a dig at you, Ronaldo. See, I haven't been on Twitter to see this stuff. Well, let me go to X and see what's going on. No, not a porn channel. This is the Twitter. They call it X now. That's not X. See, I got to put Twitter in here. Otherwise, it doesn't. I put Twitter in, then it goes to X. It redirects. Okay, now I'm in X. Okay. Oh, but it wants me to sign in. Oh, that is so yesterday. Why don't you just let me look at the damn thing? I am not going to sign in. So, see, that's the problem here. Anyway, they should play Ronaldo's intro song. You don't even know me. Can you imagine that tomorrow? People raise their right hands. You don't even know me. That would be so funny. That's a good one. Okay. Thank you, Colonel. Always wondered where the weapons went. No, Lebohang. No, there were rumors of some weapons caches inside of South Africa. Don't know that they're there. But they don't need to have apartheid-era weapons. First off, if you have an AK-47, that's probably your best bet to have a serviceable weapon. If you have weapons from 1989 sitting in a wooden box buried in the sand, they're probably not going to be functional if they're even rusted, even working. AK-47s are pretty durable, and they tend to fire regardless, but even that's a bit of a stretch. No, you don't have to go get weapons out of caches from the apartheid era that were given to you by the Soviets. No, you just buy them from the police. SAPS will rent you weapons. SAP's arms rooms are full of weapons that have been used for gangland murders and for home invasions and for farm murders. Yeah, they're just full of them. And they can't even account for 25,000 sidearms. So why would you need to have apartheid era weapons when you can get clean, new, lovely 9mm that are functional, and the cops will make them disappear. They put them back in their arms room. Etienne, I haven't seen the card, so I don't know what people are talking about, so I can't comment whether it's sensitive information or not. We masakin khan parliament to hosi. And does always entertaining. Buttery Gold says MK have got spears. Do they really? I bet they don't even know how to make spears. The only spears that MK is aware of are Britney Spears or asparagus spears or garden shears. But I'm not a garden boy. And then there's SpaceX. At least it has more X in it. But yeah, he has 11 children that we know of. Yeah, that we're aware of. So there's the tour group in WhatsApp if you want to join that to coordinate for things coming up. All right, so let me run through, not if you're melanin deficient, exactly, Marilyn. So let me run through my schedule just a little bit so people know. So I'm now up here in Gauteng. Ronaldo originally had invited me to the swearing in, which we were told was on the 17th, but it's a public holiday, so it was confusing. I booked a car with Avis, and I thought it didn't go through. And then when I booked another car days later, didn't realize it was there. So I double booked. I had 2 cars at the airport, and I really can't drive 2 cars simultaneously. They were prepaid, so I've lost the money. Although the lady at the counter is the one notified me of it, and she's working to try to get me a refund, which she don't normally do, but she sounded promising, so I might get the money back. So I hope so. But anyway, so I picked up my car. I'll be here through the 19th. I leave on the 19th for Cape Town. On the 20th, I'll be speaking at the Reformation Society in Rondebosch. Meanwhile, up here in Gauteng, tomorrow morning at 7:30, I will be on Garrett Cliff. So you can tune in tomorrow morning. If you listen to that program, you can catch me. You can catch me there tomorrow. So I'll be there at 7:30. Then I have a meeting with a friend of mine shortly after that for coffee. And then 10 o'clock, we have the Parliament seating. We know where Ronaldo's going to be. I know exactly where he'll be. Cape Town International Convention Center, in case you're looking for him. Walk by and say hi. And then Saturday, I'll be at Loftus. I'll be staying up there. And I'll be at the game, covering the game. And then we may do a meet and greet up there somewhere in Pretoria. Sunday, I'm torn about what I should do. I've had people ask me to come down to Vaal or to Vanderbal Park or somewhere in that area. So I can meet folks, or even Potchefstroom, but that's a bit far. So I'm contemplating going down there on Sunday and then staying overnight down there somewhere and having a meet and greet Sunday evening, if that's amenable to folks. And then Herman Roos has invited me back to his tobacco farm, not for tobacco, I don't smoke, but just to hang out on his farm, maybe go hunting because it's hunting season. So that's a possibility on Monday if he's able to do that. And then Tuesday, I'll be meeting with Roman Kabanak from Morning Shot, and we'll be broadcasting live. And then I'm not sure what happens until I go back to Cape Town. So that's what so if people want to do a meet and greet up here in Gauteng, I'm game. We'll probably set up one or two more at least in the time I'm here, because it's now Thursday. So I got Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night. So I got 5 nights I can play around with here. Ironically, if you can actually allow us porn now on X. I don't know about that, Renee. New lottery coming out once a month. Who's the next government? Yep, just like Italy, post-war Italy. Well said, Kit. Yep. My fellow South Africans are with slightly darker complexion than me. Let us unite. Grumpy gamer. Chris, what will the government actually do to financial status? Presume nothing good. No, actually, the markets are expecting or hoping for some sort of stability. And if that includes ANC staying in government, but bringing in someone to keep an eye on them, that's probably going to look favorable. In fact, if tomorrow a government comes out and it's ANC, DA, and IFP, at least in that government unity or coalition, I suspect the financial markets will react positively. If somehow there isn't a government, or if EFF and MK find their way into that government, then I think things are going to go sideways for South Africa in the short term. So that's just my thoughts on that. Did I answer your question? John Huchin's in from Arizona. Let's give it up for John Huchin. Thanks for being here. Good times. Yeah, I don't know about good times, but very exciting times. I'll tell you what, there's nothing boring in South Africa. I mean, I go to the airport, I run into Bram van Straten. Hey, I know you. Yeah, I'm Chris Wyatt. Yeah, you interviewed me. I sure did. What a small world. Anyway, Duran will be a bit better at the end of the day, says Pip Jacobs. Yep, probably. That's, I think, the good times. So it doesn't help me, or does it? No, it doesn't help me. I get more rand for my dollar when your toilets, or your economy's in the toilet, I should say, not your toilets in the economy. It's kind of backwards. Hey, by the way, folks, this is pretty cool. This was a gift. This was from Chris Murray. Chris Murray coordinated this jersey for the Lions, and it was signed by none other than Yanni Duplessis. Yanni Duplessis, and he signed it Mak Yai Drom Va. Make your dreams come true. That's pretty cool, huh? So that was pretty nice. Anyway, so today, or actually yesterday, I was at the Shark store down at the at Kings Park, and I picked up another jersey. What else did I get? Oh, I got this. This is the thing I'm really happy about getting. I wanted the jersey they had for the Challenge Cup victory, but they didn't have any of the men's left, only women's. But I did get this T-shirt from the Challenge Cup. So the Challenge Cup champions are the Sharks. And here you go, the road to the champions on the back. How cool is that? That's kind of cool. Yeah, so I picked that up in Kings Park. By the way, I stayed at Suncoast. That's part of the Saul Kersner's Sun chain, which is now Solo Sun, or whatever the hell they call it. They changed the name. But yeah, it's one of the Sun properties down there, Suncoast, and it was decent. It's wintertime, so the prices were reasonable. It's a decent. I can afford it. Probably can't afford it in summertime. But nice location to stay. People worry about safety. It was safe there. We had a nice meet and greet at Tiger's Milk. Thanks to everybody who came to that. Charles van Onselen, Malcolm Cloty were there, and then Chad Baker came as well. It was lekker. It was nice. David was there. Shireen, Dr. Shireen wasn't well. She's dealing with something right now. So it was nice. We had a good time there. And then it was a long day, though. Whew, that was a long day. That day, I did a live stream with Byron Shepard. Then after the live stream with Byron Shepard, before that I did video production. Then I did a live stream with Byron at Sergeant Pepper's in Kibiga Park in Geberga. And after that, I went and met up with Ronaldo and another DA counselor, Sean. And then from our DA politician, Sean. And then from there, I flew to Durban, got my car, drove to the Suncoast, checked in 10 after 6, got my room. I had to put a little bit of charge on my phone, and then went down to Tiger's Milk. Got there a few minutes late because it was a long walk. My hip was killing me. I felt like a cripple. I was limping to get there. Had a great meet and greet. Came back, did another broadcast, went to bed, got up and drove to Howick. So it's been that kind of trip, and that's kind of what we've been doing. So, all right. What do we got else here? Foreign investors have to force ANC into power and put them under the administration. We're absolutely screwed. I don't know if you've answered this before, but what of Cape Independence? I have answered many, many times RPO, and I've interviewed Phil Craig from the Cape Independence Advocacy Group and now from the Referendum Party. I've interviewed Hein Marks when the United Liberty Alliance was still around, but that's been overcome by UCS. That's who I need to get in touch with, the UCS guy, Sean. Sean something, let him know I'm up here. So, maybe tomorrow. Yeah, that just reminds me. And then, of course, also Des Palm from Cape Exit. I've interviewed all of them. I've talked to many people about it. It's feasible, absolutely. The Cape secession is feasible. It's within the norms of international standards and international laws. Saul Kirshner and what's this? Huh? Something not right there. Cool jersey, says John Hitchin. Yeah, I think so. Maybe they'll eventually learn you can't trust. You can't trust socialist money. No, not a good plan. Dang, Chris. Are you ready for excess baggage? No, Pierre, I came with largely empty suitcases, but the one concern I have is all of the signs I've been liberating. I liberated another one outside Kings Park. Get that one. Hang on. So, that's the wrong one. What the heck? Oh, hang on. I'm going through the wrong pocket. Give me a second here. Going through my suitcase here. And this is the most recent sign I liberated. Here we go. This one I liberated outside Moses Mabhida Stadium and Kings Park in Durban. This is the one I liberated. There you go. Yep. Just Jobs and Justice, Neil DeBeer, UIM. That's the sign I liberated. By the way, I sent a picture of that to Neil DeBeer. He found it funny. Found it quite entertaining. So these signs get heavy when you got a bunch of them. So that might be a concern. That might be a weight concern. But no, my bags were mostly empty when I came. Anyway. Hey, look, the signs have to be removed. 2 weeks have to be removed. They're rubbish. They have to be gone. I'm just cleaning up the streets of South Africa one town at a time. Pretoria, Port Elizabeth, Durban. Didn't do Howick, did I? Did I get one in Howick? No, I didn't get one in Howick. Jackie Smith says, my man Neil used to drink Tiger's Milk wine from Yugoslavia. That's interesting. Well, if they don't take them down, somebody will. Chris is taking trophies already. Exactly. I'm counting coup. I'm taking trophies. Can't believe people voted for which guy. Garrett Forstenberg, EFF keeps attacking the Oppenheimers. He's envious and scared of their achievements because he will never match Mr. 9%. Ratiox says Neil DeBeer's amazing leader. Damn signs still up all over, and they'll stay up for years. Please, only 85 likes. Okay, if the DA gets the government, we'll be good. Says okay. Just smash those like buttons. Yeah, and for some reason I'm not live anymore. Let me see if I can get live again. There we go. All right, so yeah. So I'm liberating signs, and I've got quite a few in here. My bag was a little bit heavy. The top portion hangs low. Yep. Go Bulls, says Brenda de Klerk. Yeah, well, go Bulls. Bulls Saturday, with the only hope left in the United Rugby Championship are the Blue Bulls. The Blau Bull. So hopefully they'll get it done. Looking forward to the game. At the press conference I was at, I know only a handful of people watched my video on the press conference. But the press conference, Jake, I didn't include in my portion because it was only questions I asked I put in my video. That way it keeps it reasonably short. But Jake said in Cons, he said, we really need people to come out. Having home field advantage is not any value if you don't have home fans. And he said he realizes things are tough. Money is expensive. You got a couple kids coming to last week's game, coming next week's game. It can be challenging. But he's encouraging people to come out. And I'm encouraging everybody in Gauteng who has the time, who can afford the few dollars it costs to go to Loftus, to please come to Loftus on Saturday. Let's fill the place up. Let's scare the bejesus out of Leinster because they don't ever play in front of 50,000 fans. Now they do as the Ireland side, but I mean, but ostensibly they're Leinster. So come on out. Let's scare the bejesus out of them. Let's make them wet their nappies, and let's use the high altitude and the roar of the crowd, the 16th man, to help the Bulls, cheer them on so they can beat Leinster and go to the final, which would be really cool if it's in South Africa, but we still got Munster to deal with here, and Glasgow's got to come up big to defeat them. There's a lot of ifs this weekend when it comes to URC. Peter from Breda says, so what are the Bulls' chance? Actually pretty good, Peter. Pretty good. Now, if they get slaughtered, people are going to say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. No, they're actually pretty good. Notwithstanding the leaky defense last week, the good news for the Bulls is that Leinster scores their points in places where the Bulls defense actually performed well last week. So we'll see what happens. Werner Duplessis says, Chris, please stop stealing shack building materials. Werner from Betty's Bay. Hey, isn't that the Werner that I met? Didn't I meet you, Werner? Is that the same Werner? Then it's Soweto. Ken, the problem is that now that changes. I believe that the swearing in has been moved from the 22nd, if that's correct, moved up. So it might be the case. I don't know. There's rumor that's the case. If the swearing in is moved to a different date, then the game will be at Loftus. But if it's on the 22nd, the game will be at FMB in Soweto. Yep. We can only win. Brenda, let's hope you're right. I'm looking forward to it. I don't want to go into the press conference with Jake Wyatt afterwards, and he's in a sour mood because the team played well. Is Ronell here? Ronell, whose signs do you have? I have Bossa, MK, ANC, UIM. I don't have DA. Their signs are crappy. They're crappy. They put them on this cheap-ass wood, and or cardboard, and it falls apart. I mean, these are signs that, you expect to see in some third world country. Oh, I'm in South Africa, third world country, sorry. No, the DA signs were crap. I mean, they look nice when they're new, but they don't last in the weather, and they're crap, and so they're too heavy. It looks like the same sort of situation with the Freedom Front Plus signs. I don't have those either. I do have Rise Mzansi as well. And I'm trying to remember. Yes, all the way from Betty's Bay. Perfect weather day. Hey, it's good to see you again, Vernon. By the way, thank you very much for the biltong, and thank you for a lovely time. I had a fantastic conversation with you guys. It was wonderful. That was an informal meet and greet we did in Betty's Bay. Yep. And then I had an actual meet and greet in before we met over there in Pringle Bay. So, yep. So now I've had meet and greets at Somerset West and Strand, Pringle Bay, Betty's Bay, and Hermanus. Most of my nieces and nephews usually went to watch Loftus have immigrated abroad. Well, Ravani, if you come, you won't be going alone. You can link up with us before the game. There you go. You won't be alone. What fueled your interest in South Africa? Oh, RPO, I've answered this so many times. But thank you for asking. I was watching the conflicts in Rhodesia and Angola and Mozambique when I was a young man in middle school. I went to high school, and I got a book from James Michener called The Covenant about historical fiction. It was about South Africa. And the Covenant, of course, is Gelofte. The Gelofte, the day of the vow. That's the Covenant. So I read the book, and I was fascinated by South Africa, and my interest grew from there. My interest in Africa grew as well. Yeah, so when I went back to university after going in the Army, I focused my history classes on Southern Africa, and South Africa in particular. And I self-taught myself to understand and read Afrikaans, even though I don't speak it. It just kind of grew from there. So there's a lot more to the story, but that's the baseline of the story. There's Garrett in Somerset West. Fenster says inauguration is apparently next Wednesday. So Loftus Canos. Yeah, exactly. Okay, see, that's what I said. It's supposed to be moving to Wednesday the 19th. And I changed my schedule, so just in case, as a ferner, as one of them damn ferners, as a ferner, I might be able to go to that inauguration there in South Africa. That'd be some pretty cool stuff. We'd be doing some moonshine. Yeah, me and my cousin there. Yeah, that's right. No, my cousin's my sister. You didn't know that? I'll be one of them ferners going to that inauguration. That's a big word, inauguration. Inauguration. Yeah. What the hell does that mean? I know about dedication. Yeah, and consecration. And what else do I know? Aviation, but I don't know about no inauguration. Is that something that happens in August? Inauguration? You got, when you're digging your yard, you got that thing called an auger. Is that inauguration? You put the auger in the ground. Is that inauguration? Just asking for a friend. Anyway, yes, Stormers are my team. Well, James Bell, you have good taste. What dedication. Well done, Chris. Well, thank you, Rivani. Brenda says, I'm a bull in Mossel Bay, so they hate me anyway. I wore this in PE. You think you got grief? I got grief in PE for wearing this, big time. Yep. But somebody was wearing Manchester City jersey, so they assumed I was a Man City fan. John's a Cheetahs fan. Does Brack Pan Billy's drink moonshine? I don't know if that's true. That's pretty funny. Anyway, so we're up to 104 likes. I think Ronaldo's probably gone to bed. He's got to get up early. I've got to get up early too, but we're not dropping off yet. We'll stay a little bit. Yeah, that's right. Squeal like a pig, boy. That's a little too much visual. Pip says, all time for, what's this? All time for something bad work tomorrow. Pip, thanks for being here. Thanks. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done it on your way out the door. And thank you for announcing and now departing from Gate 7, Pip Jacobs. Thank you for being here. Yeah, no, it's, okay, so let's look and see. So the audience tonight says 51% of the 165 votes is actually pretty good. So I'm going to stop the poll now. Okay. Got 165 votes in that poll. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So the ANCDA IFP coalition got 50% of the votes. 25% of people said it doesn't matter, we're screwed. The Government National Unity, 19%. ANC EFFPA got 4 votes. Yeah, or 4%, excuse me, not 4 votes. So four votes means that was about 6 people said that. So wow, folks, that's fascinating that the Government National Unity gets 19%. I'm opposed to the Government National Unity. I don't think it's a good idea. I think the coalition between the ANCDA and IFP, which I've said since the vote totals came in, I can see the IFP was getting about 4%. That's the right answer. But we'll see. Gideon LaRue says, glad the algorithm brought me back here, and this time hitting a sub. Thank you, Gideon. I'm so glad that you found it, and I'm glad the algorithm is actually working in my favor for once. It hasn't worked in my favor for a long time. Including my 3 previous trips to South Africa, I gained virtually no subscribers on those 3 trips. I spent 4.5 months in South Africa, and I didn't gain any real subscribers. This time, we've gained about 1,500 thus far, and we're halfway through the trip, slightly more than halfway. So, looking to hopefully gain a lot more, and we'll see what happens. Oh, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Let's try to at least get back to where we were 3 years ago when we had 23,000 subscribers. I'd love to get to 25,000. It'd be great. What else? And then Rivani says, that's very good. Yeah, that the algorithm is working. Yeah, let me just run through that very quickly because I know some people are curious and let you know what's going on. Some farmer drinks mumbo. Okay. All right. Let me just run through and give you an indication of some of the stuff that's happening here. Okay. So the video I did this morning, the clock is ticking. That has, let me see what it actually has for viewers because this is different. That has, come on, 5,300 views. So that's pretty good for one of my videos. I mean, it used to be 100,000, but hey, the Minority Parties team up. That's the one I did on the beach yesterday in Durban. That video has 17,200 views, and we've got 85 new subscribers from it. That's awesome. And then even the one on Gate Mackenzie has over 2,000 views. And every one of these, except for the Bulls, only has 230 views. They all have over 1,000 views, 6,000, 7,000, 4,000, 8,000, 12,000, 11,000, 8,000, 800, 7,000. These are doing very well. Even my shorts have some very good ones there. 1,500, 1,600, 1,100, 2,500, 4,800, 9,600. Wow, that was 9,600. That's crazy. And then the lives have been doing well too. I mean, I'm really thrilled with the lives. So the one we did earlier today had 1,700. Let me see where it's at now. It's at 2,200. Thank you for that. It doesn't tell me it's new subscribers because it's too fresh. That'll be later. The DA ANC meeting falling apart. That one I did yesterday. They had 6,700 views for a live stream. And my KZN Coalition, that one's at 3,400 and 3,000 plus for the Bribe Brews with Byron. MK Spills the Beans, 9,000. It's really gratifying to see these things start to happen here. Look, I'm not obsessed by views or clicks or likes. I'm not. I'm just trying to do the things the algorithm you're supposed to do so we can get more people aware and get more viewership. So, yeah, so right now, within the last 48 hours, they have 51,000 views. That's darn good. Getting back to the numbers we used to have. And whatever we're doing to overcome the suppression of the channel, it's really exciting to see it. So thank you all who found the video or found the channel again. Those of you who are discovering for the first time, thank you. And I think everyone has become a subscriber. Listen, a lot of people I get, especially South Africans, are hesitant to have an account on YouTube. You can watch this stuff without having an account. And, you know, also worried people are watching it. Folks, you're being watched all the time. Let me just let you know that now. You dispel any rumor. You are being watched. Well, I'm going off grid. You can't go off grid. Your whole life is on grid. Governments put all your data on there online, whether you like it or not, whether you know it or not. Your birth date, your national identity number, your social security number, your sexual preferences in some cases, all that stuff is online. I don't mean to scare you, but it's there. Your banking information, your insurance information, your mortgage information, your car loan, your library habits, it's all there. It's just a question who knows how to get it and how to find it. And trust me, I work the National Security Agency. We can find that stuff legally, and people can do it illegally as well. So you shouldn't have fears about that. Just if you enjoy something, social media, set yourself up an account and just go for it. Just be smart and change your password frequently. Hope we make it to 100,000 subs by the election. Tommy, that's not going to happen. We were on that glide path, and YouTube put a big stamp on my account, took my original account away. We had 23,000 subscribers in 5 months, and I'm damn sure that if we hadn't had suppression, that by July of 2021, we'd hit 100,000 subscribers. I don't think I'm ever going to hit 100,000 subscribers. And you know what? If I don't, I don't. That's fine. Again, it's not for that. It'd be cool to have one of those little silver plaques to put on the wall. But this is a platform that has a weird way of treating its content creators. Just Jacques says, I found this channel with the World Cup reviews and have been here ever since. Love the Well, thank you, Jacques. We really appreciate it. The World Cup reviews were incredible with Nats Bota. It's a shame that some hate wanker went and ruined it for everybody. Yep. That's right. We would be beyond by 350,000. No, Hendo's right. The way we were going, maybe even higher, and that would be awesome. And so that stuff matters, folks. Look, I'm not obsessed by it, but it does matter. And the reason it matters is, like, when I contact someone saying, hey, listen, I'd like you to come to my channel. I'm a retired U.S. Army Colonel Intelligence Officer, yada, yada, yada. And I cover these things. Well, when you have 5,000 subscribers, a lot of people just blow you off, But when you have 100,000 subscribers, everybody will clamor to come on your channel. People will contact you. Hey, I want to come on your channel. So that's why it matters. It affects the quality of guest and the frequency of guest. Ronald says the government has your ID number, your cell phone number, your address. This is all just to confirm where you vote. Well, yes, and banks have all the other information. So, and I can get all that information on virtually anybody at any time, and so can anybody who knows what they're doing, is privy to that kind of skill. If WokeTube didn't censor it. Yep. So Ruvani says, even ESCOM is contemplating charging solar users a fee like in California where EVs are going to be taxed per mile because they don't make money to sell gasoline. Yeah, exactly. It's all a scam. It's all a scam to take your money, defraud you, and make you a serf. And if you don't believe that, just hang around because you're on the road to serfdom, to quote Francis Hayek. Hey, Chris, I've been missing timing your shows. Always talk you up. Well, thank you, Mike. I do appreciate that's very kind, but a lot of my viewers in the U.S. are going to be disappointed because I'm not spending much time talking about the U.S. right now. But listen, I'm in South Africa. We've somehow overcome the algorithm, and we're having modest success, sometimes very good success. I've got to milk that as long as I can to get as much exposure as possible so more people know about the channel so we can do a lot. Hey, Ronaldo, have a good night. Good luck tomorrow. God bless you on your swearing in, and we look forward to hearing from you. Ronaldo, promise me I get the first interview when you're a member of parliament. Do it right now. Go ahead, commit to it. Commit to give your first interview as a member of parliament to Chris Wyatt. You know you want to do it. Don't be a hate wanker. Do it, Ronaldo. The Honorable Ronaldo Host leaving the room. So that Ronaldo is doing what he's always complaining about his guests doing. People who watch his program telling us they're leaving. He's like, listen, Ronaldo, this isn't an airport. We're not Fly SAF Air. You're not Airlink. You're not SAA. We're definitely not SAA. You don't need to announce your departure. Oh, Ronaldo says maybe for the first interview. Oh gosh. Wait, that looks like a chest pain. No chest pains here. Anyway, get some rest, Ronaldo. I'll be on Gareth Cliff tomorrow at 7:30. I'm sure you won't be able to listen to that because you'll be busy putting on a suit. Ronaldo is putting on a suit, folks. I would kill to see that. I would kill to see that. Anyway, yeah, Mike says commit Ronaldo. Well, I mean, you gotta be careful punctuation because commit Ronaldo can mean somebody commit him to an institution, or Ronaldo should commit to it. Have a good night, Ronaldo. Sleep well. Few R's on the pulse in South Africa. Thank you for that. Llewellyn Nell, thank you very much. I know it's true. Even South Africans aren't as much on the pulse as I am often. Sean Folshank, the South African government is unique. They put all of us off grid a few hours a day. Listen, South Africa is the most romantic country in the world. Everybody gets to die by candlelight every night. And you get to smooch with your partner and your loved one all the time. And you get to snuggle because there's no heat to keep your bed warm. Chantel says, glad to see you again. Well, I'm glad to be back here. All the best for tomorrow, says Renell for Ronaldo. All right, so the next poll is coming up. Let me do a poll now, okay? Oops, here we go. Let's do a poll, okay? Start a poll. All right, the next poll is up. You can vote in it. I don't expect to see many responses on that, but you feel free to respond on it. Yep, so there you go. All right, what else we got here? What am I missing? Nope, I caught the chat. We're caught up on the chat. So make sure I didn't miss anything here. Mark Sayers, sorry, Mark, I didn't see you there. And now I see Mark. Yeah, so other news in South Africa. I mentioned earlier today briefly that Media24, Koos Becker's Media24, the uber wealthy man who owns the propaganda corporation, will shut down 4 newspapers, including 2 Afrikaans newspapers. City Press, which I bought this evening, somewhere it's here. And then in addition, Rapport. Oh, actually 3. 4 papers, 2 Afrikaans. City Press, which is in English, Rapport in Afrikaans, Beeld in Afrikaans, and the Daily Sun, all going to be folded up. By the way, Beeld is at least 50 years old. I saw the thing on a paper today saying celebrating the 50th anniversary, and they're going to shut them all down. Shame, 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 shame. There's a problem when you allow multinationals to buy out your paper or your media outlet. They can get rid of you at a whim when they're ready for it. JP Dreckmeyer says, I know it's only close to year's end, but looking forward to U.S. elections from you, Chris. Well, JP Dreckmeyer, I'm looking forward to, and I'm hoping that YouTube doesn't start a regime of censorship, censoring content related to the elections, because I plan on covering the elections in in the U.S. I covered them in South Africa, in the U.S. And, if we broadcast Donald Trump, we get censored and get strikes, the channel gets taken away, so we won't do that. I have to be very careful because their censorship regime is quite stringent, and I don't know what they're going to do this time around. Pendo says to stay out of Brocktown. Today somebody in Benoni mentioned me. Marty says, I'm from the Vanderbilt Park. Well, Marty, that's where Monty Jackson lives, and so I was considering coming down there on Sunday. Operation Paperclip. Why be like that Hendo? Just Jock. What did Hendo say? Why be like what? Hendo just put up my group. Hendo didn't do anything wrong. What's that about? All right, so my last journey, my last leg of this trip will be back in the Western Cape, and I plan to wrap up my last days on this trip in Gordons Bay. I'll be hanging out down there. I already spent some time in Somerset West. I like Gordons Bay, and I plan to spend some time down there. Maybe go back to Eimer. That wasn't too bad. But definitely going to hit at Strand, the Kapstadt Brauhaus. That's going to happen again. Yep. Anyway, so love me some of that raspberry crystal Weizen, man. That's some good stuff. I wish I could get that in the States. Yep, going to happen. Going to happen. Definitely. Anyway, so at this stage, folks, I've been dotting around so much of the Western Cape. I mean, there aren't a lot of communities I haven't been to at this point. I haven't really spent any time in Worcester. I don't know, should I? This time, I've never stayed in Franschhoek because it's so pricey and there's not really a lot there. And I've also never stayed in Paarl, but I've stayed at Zorgvliet, halfway between Stellenbosch and Franschhoek many times. I've stayed in Stellenbosch in the past, of course, all over Cape Town. So, what date is Gordon's Bay? Sandy, it'll be the last few days. I leave on the 25th, so the 24th, the 23rd, 22nd. If the accommodation I've been offered is available for those 3 dates, I'll probably spend at least 3 days there. And which means I'll be traveling around. I want to go see the bees, and Garrett knows what I'm talking about. I want to go back to the Stellenbosch Air Club if possible, and I will try to do a few other things while I'm there. Chris, have you visited Cape Winelands? Faith and I do. See, this is what gets me frustrated. Hendo, would you please put the link into the Goed Constantia video? So my first trip back to South Africa after sorry, my hip is bothering me. It's really starting to bother me here. After the COVID scam was in August 2022. I landed at the airport in Cape Town. I was met by the Pet Suit film crew, Juan Miller, and he filmed me coming out after I got my SIM cards. And then off we went. He dropped me at the DoubleTree. I showered, and then he came and picked me up. We went to Goed Constantia, and we filmed a documentary. I was the on-air talent. He was the filmmaker. The CEO from Goed Constantia was there, took us around. It was fantastic. In fact, let me find that really quick here. I want to play a little bit of it. It was awesome. Awesome, awesome. And not even 1,000 people watched this video. It was documentary. This is something you put into the Cannes Film Festival quality. So, Goed Constantia. Now, if I type in Goed Constantia, let's see if YouTube even gives me a link to it. Nope, there's one from 6 years ago. There's another one. Oh, here's mine. 913 views. South African wine exploring Goed Constantia, South Africa's oldest surviving wine estate. So, but I've been to Zorgvliet, and there's so many of them. Okay. Pet Suit film crew, how's it going? Excellent. Cheers. Cheers. It's a really good film. Oh, that is sweet. That's Bilecker. That is Bilecker. You must flavor. It's amazing. Yeah, the aroma is amazing. But this is the chief executive officer of Goed Constantia. This is, in fact, the oldest vineyard in South Africa, yes?
Yeah, it's the oldest surviving vineyard in South Africa. You know, the South African wine industry started in 1659 when Jan van Riebeeck wrote in his diary, today for the first time grapes was pressed in Cape Town. That was 1659, 2nd of February. Goed Constantia was established in 1685. There were other spots where vineyards were cultivated in the Western.
So that's a 20-minute, 32-second documentary. The Pet Suit film crew edited and put that together, put all the music and the imagery to it. I was on air talent along with the CEO. It was brilliant, and I'm still heartbroken that only 913 people have seen that video. That is just crap. That's YouTube suppression. It's such bullshit. If I load it up here now in South Africa, maybe I get some more views. But really, and I think Hendo, that's probably the link Hendo put there. Yeah, there's the link to it right there. So if you want to watch it, feel free. It's a really good video, and I'm not just saying it because I'm biased. Yep. Mada is Pretoria Nord. What's that? Remember the portrait of Jim that caused such an uproar, the spear of the nation. Operation Beekeeper sorted out. Cool beans. Sounds like a rave, says Rivani. Okay. Only fly with SAF Air if you want to be on time. Yeah, we weren't on time today, but it had nothing to do with SAF Air. It was because there was a problem at OR Tambo flights getting out. Faith says, have you visited Cape Wines? Yeah, no, so I've been all over. And what's the one that's in, hang on a second, I got to look. I went to that one too. That was set up by one of my viewers who I haven't heard from since January. I'm a little concerned about him. And that is Friendcorp. I haven't heard from him. I've tried to reach out to him. There was no response. His number's still active. He was not in the best of health, so I hope nothing happened to him. But Friendcorp set one up for me in Brockenfell. Okay, what's the name of that one there? Let me get the Brockenfell here. So I've been to Boschendal as well. What is the vineyard in Brockenfell? Come on. What is that? What's the name of the damn thing? Oh, it's not showing up here. Valerie watched it 3 times. Yep, it was awesome. No, I really enjoyed it. What is the name I went to there? Not is that one. What's Oh, I've drawn a blank here. There is a vineyard near Brockenfell that I went to. I cannot think of it. Anyway, yeah, I can't think of it. Anyway, so yeah, I did that one. I've been to Stellenbosch. As I said, I've been to Zorgfleet, which is a pretty good one. Tokara, been to all those. There's so many wine estates, you can't go to all of them. You can try, you can try. But my relationship with Zorgfleet began in must have been 2009 or 2010 when I came to South Africa from Botswana for a conference in Cape Town. And my colleague at the American Embassy in Hatfield said, "Hey, Chris, you want to do a wine tour?" I'm like, oh, "Wine tours? It's not my cup of tea. Besides, I'm always driving. I don't drink." He's like, "No, no, no. I know somebody. We can get a van. Just be the two of us. We can go around, and it'll be cool." So we did, and it was freaking awesome. We went to Zorgfleet. I absolutely loved it. It was fantastic. Fantastic. Yep. So, wow, what is the name of that damn wine estate? That's really pissing me off. I can't think of the name of it. Anyway, it'll come to me later on. But it's not showing up now. I thought it was in frickin' Brockenfell. I know it's in Brockenfell because I drove through Brockenfell and I drove right past it. Anyway, I can't think of it right now. So, what is this Brockenfell? Anyway, sorry. So, yeah. Yeah, so I've been to Cape Winelands. Yep, absolutely. Okay. What is Tommy asking about? Werner says, "Hola is Montag. Oit? See. Yeah, Monday is a holiday. Rock band is lekker." Oh, is that what you're upset about? Because, yeah. So 76% of people want me to come to Vol on Sunday. All right, well, I'll talk to Ronell and see what's going on. Michael says, "What airline are you flying?" Well, in South Africa, this trip I've flown exclusively with Fly Saf Air. Exclusively. They've been fantastic. With the exception today, they've been on time. They've been early in a couple places, and they've been wonderful. Good experience. Reasonably priced flights, although South Africans don't feel they're reasonably priced, but try flying in America. Yep. So, come to Sedgefield. Okay, I don't know where it's at. Have you visited the Cape Winelands? Did that? Okay. Okay. What was it about? Guy divorced his wife, but at least she's still his sister. What? That's funny. And what I miss here? Portrait. Okay, I already saw that. YouTube will probably give you a strike for playing your own content. Yeah, that's right, JP Trackbunner. Yes, we've given you a strike because you play content off your own channel. Boy, people are dropping like flies tonight, going to bed early. Gus says hello. And then what else? Hassendal. It's not Hassendal. That's not what it was. Is it Hassen? It's not Hassendal. Let me do this here. Okay, what is the name of it? It's it's an iconic one too. It's got Cape Dutch architecture, and I had a fantastic time there. So vineyard. Brockenfell Vineyard. Let's see what comes up. No, that's not it. Hassendale. It's not Hassendale though. Ah, which one is it? Damn it. What's the name of it? Zevenwacht. Thank you, Funk Dunk. I just saw it and I looked up and you got Zevenwacht. That's the one I went to. Zevenwacht. Thank you. Yep, Zevenwacht Wine Estate. That's the one. Why couldn't I find the damn thing? Zevenwacht was amazing. Yep, that's really cool. Yep, that's the one. Zevenwacht. Thank you. Thank you so much. I found it just as you said that. That's the one. Oh, gosh bless it. So on that trip, I did Zevenwacht, which Frank Corp set up, and I did Route Consent, which amazingly I set up. I wrote to the CEO and said, "Can I do a tour?" And he said, can I interview?" He said, "Yeah." So yeah, but yeah, Zevenwacht, that's the one. Yeah, Zevenwacht is amazing, Sandy. So is Zorgfleet. I love Zorgfleet. To make the food freaking awesome. The location freaking awesome. The wine freaking awesome. The staff freaking awesome. You know what Zorgfleet is? Freaking awesome. Cracking my head trying to recall the name. My son booked in there for a weekend, says Faith. Zevenwacht is in Kills River. I live down from there. Okay. Sedgefield is between George and Neisner. Okay. Thank you for that, James Bowie. George and Neisner. I've been through it. because I did that with Rob Hutchison. We drove from Mossel Bay through George to, and who was, let me go to George. Let me find that real quick. Map. Zoom out here. Okay. Okay, let me get, why is my map is taking so slow? Come on, load. So slow. There we go. I want to go over to Mossel Bay to George. Okay, come on. Where's George? There's George. Where's the airport? Oh, there's Sedgefield right there. Okay, all right. Where's the damn airport at? Come on. There's the airport. That's what I want. Elvis Brew. That's the one. Yeah, Elvis Brew. I was supposed to interview that guy and it didn't. It went sideways. Yep, Elvis Brewing Company. Yep. And George, right outside the airport. That's pretty cool too. But no, Zevenvocht is the one that I did that for. So yep, Zevenvocht is top notch. Dylan Kruger says Dylan Comfort isn't the only Dylan anymore. Yep. Yep. That's Cools River, really? It's in Brockenfels. I don't know how it's Cools River. I've never been Marindale. Nope. Napa Valley versus Stellenbosch. What do you prefer? I don't really care for Napa Valley wines. I don't care for California wines. I mean, they're popular. They're world class these days, but not my cup of tea. I prefer German wines, and I am fine with South African. My favorite South African wine is a oh gosh, what's the word? No, I haven't seen your moments tonight. The red one. The red one. I can't think of the name of it right now. It's a really good red. Always keen on new wine recommendations, says James Brown. Okay, cool beans. All right, folks. We should probably wrap it up here because it's not a Merlot. It's not a Merlot. Cape Shiraz. Ha ha! Oh, the senior moment disappeared. Cape Shiraz. Some good frickin' wine, man. We got a lot of good frickin' stuff tonight. Good wine. Yeah, Cape Shiraz. Charles likes that. No, the Merlot is not my thing. Cape Shiraz. Oh, that is some good ass wine, man. Some good ass wine. Pizza Time says Malema said his 9% isn't the talk of the town anymore. Exactly. Riesling is good, but my favorite wine is Michelsberg Peaseporter, which comes from Germany. That's a favorite wine. Had that on a cruise ship from Germany to Norway and back. It's pretty good. Or Norway to Germany, excuse me. I already have a brother named Dylan. Pinotage. All right. I'm pulling faces, as South Africans like to say. So it's time for me to wrap up tonight at this hour. Let me double check the news and see if they've announced anything very quickly. Home. Come back over here at News Propaganda 24. Oh, here it is. Mabalula says country must move forward as talks continue. Long night awaits. So they're still talking at this hour. Wow. Folks, we have to look at this before we go. At 10 p.m. tonight, we've got, we are on the path to recovery, having suffered a setback. How do we claw back? In this particular moment, it's about us and how we're going to move forward. We know our enemies, our people gave them votes. They don't know what to do with the votes. Huh? Says Fikile Mabalula. He said they're not going to punish those who didn't vote for the ANC. Well, yeah, who do you think you are to punish them? Says stable government is the heart of forming government national unity. Who cares what Fikile Mabalula's got to say? Oh my gosh, I don't really care. DA is not a branch of the ANC. If I say this today and the DA disagrees, it does not mean the DA has ceased to be the DA. We are involved in discussion. There's nobody that's come to us with demands. There are people who have come to us and said, this is what we think. This is her thought that the ANC is about to get swallowed by the DA. You know, it's fascinating. The toned down rhetoric of the ANC has been very diplomatic in these discussions. It's absolutely fascinating to see them behave like adults, at least for a few moments. Kind of exciting stuff. Anyway, so that's that. Julius Malema. Okay, here's Malema. EFF leader Julius Malema said the ANC has squandered an opportunity to isolate imperialist forces and the white monopoly capital in South Africa. Oh, can you say racist much? Thursday evening, Juju, the dunderhead, addressed a press conference that nobody went to at the first sitting before the first sitting of Parliament. He declared the DA as his number one enemy, refused to work in the government of national unity with the likes of the DA and Freedom Front Plus. Well, good. Nobody wants race hustling, scumbag, murdering thugs being part of anything like that. You know, go sing Kill the Boer and enjoy yourself. Apparently you're allowed to do that, incite people to violence. It's not a crime in South Africa. Unless you happen to have insufficient skin pigmentation, then it is a crime. Yeah. He said the EFF will put up candidates for positions in Parliament. This includes nominating EFF MP Veronica Mente for the position of National Assembly Speaker. Veronica Mentos, the Fresh Maker. The EFF is bringing you proudly the Fresh Maker. So the ANC played with an opportunity to isolate imperialist forces and white monopoly capital. Choo-choo. White monopoly capital is so Bell Pottinger 2015. Dude, nobody believes that garbage, but except Juju. Yeah, anyway, wow. During last month's general elections, over 3 million voters supported the EFF. This gave it 39 seats, making it the 4th largest party. But they lost 4 seats. Let's not forget that. Malema said that parties like the DN and Freedom Front Plus would never sit next to them in the government. Really? I'm sorry. Did you form a coalition with those 2 parties in Nelson Mandela Bay, in Schwane, in Joburg? You did, Julius. You lying sack of horse manure. Anyway, that's it for this hour, folks. To wrap up, it's time for me to hit the rack. Thanks for being here. By the way, feel free to check out my documentary if you don't mind. That would be great. That would be on the wine. So check it out. Try to push this up over 1,000 views. That'd be awesome. That's an old video. Best checkers in Cape Town. Huh. Okay. And nobody was ever going to deliberately engage the EFF's department yet. You're right. Where's the DA's media briefing? I don't know. I live in a road down from Zavenbox. Okay, well, thank you, Renette. But on the map, it says Brockenfell. So I don't know where this boundaries change. All right, cool beans. Pierre is thanking me for what I'm doing, I believe. Cedarburg wines are also a pleasant find in the mountains. Bit of a... Okay. Yeah, I've not been there. Been up north, though. Heard some nice things about Friars Cove out past Lambert's Bay as well. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, Valerie's late husband loved some kind of red wine. Babalula, the Teletubby. Indeed he is. Yeah, so let me get back to the maps before I disappear for the evening. Yeah, so if I zoom out from that... Okay, come a little bit higher. So yeah, so I've been to Sarah's, Harl, Iserfontein, Felderdorf. There's Felderdorf there, and I went over to Citrusdal. Went down the mountains. Yep. Anyway, that was on the previous trip, so there you go. All right, folks, be sure to hit the like button, and we're under 100, so I'm going to wrap it up here. Have a good night. Take care of yourselves. I hope that's just because people are tired and that's not interest waning. And I'm going to get to bed here shortly so that I can get up and go in for Gareth Cliff in the morning and then meet with my friend afterwards. All right, so the poll, 75%, it dropped. 75%, 64 votes. So that means that 3 out of 4, that means 40 people here plus would want me to come down there. So would 40 people come to meet and greet? Well, I think Sunday I'll probably go to the Vol. Okay? And we'll work this out. Renell, send me a note so we can touch base, get your help for that. Okay? Thanks, everybody. You guys ready for load shedding? Let's hope not. All right, good night. Cheers. Be safe. God bless. And we'll talk to you tomorrow. I'll try to live stream at 10 o'clock if it's feasible, if it makes sense. And if not, I'll be giving you updates and videos later in the day about what actually happened with analysis about what happened. Thanks, everybody. Be careful out there. Stay safe.